Ready to go, Lark? August asks, smiling my way. I nod, reaching up to grasp his outstretched hand as we walk together. I gave in to hunger and hunted last night. But I didn't hunt humans. I never sought a target, never followed someone home. I almost did, but flashes of memory stopped me dead in my tracks whenever I tried. Sharif's sobbing face. The words I spoke to make it worse. The look of utter hatred in his father's eyes as I devoured his wife in front of his eyes. Humans seem to forget things, to lose information over time. I don't. Every memory is recalled with perfect clarity, from the taste of blood to the muffled screams to the beads of sweat glistening on the faces of my victims. But now, I understand so much more of what these things mean. It seems as though every day I learn something that brings a new and fresh horror to old memories. And yet, I still must eat. The forest holds many creatures. It is not as though I lack options. But I catch something and wonder, what if this makes me grow or change? What if this meal is the tipping point which ruins my flimsy disguise? I settled on a small creature, one that flew yet was not a bird. The meal was not enough, but I feared to consume any more. Part of me says, what does it matter? If I'm not eating humans, why am I here? Was that not my goal? Just return to the forest, devour and become strong. Then August squeezes my hand, and the shivering in my body stops as my thoughts are pulled back towards the present. We're returning to the church, the place of funerals. Yet today, August wants to show me a less solemn event. One he goes to every week. He was very pleased when I asked to come. Today, the community gets together to rest, to be taught, to appreciate each other, and to offer prayers to the Mistwatcher. Whatever that is. We file into the massive room, taking seats instead of crowding the center aisle like we had during the funeral. Rather than pictures of my victims, the front of the room holds a podium with an older woman standing behind it, smiling warmly at all of us. She even meets my eyes as we walk in, though I quickly turn away. I still have my cloak and mask, despite August's gentle prodding that, today at least, I should wear something else. As if I had the option. None of the other clothes he suggested were baggy enough to hide my extra pair of arms, not to mention the rest of me. My hair has started to get a bit out of control, peeking out through my hood even when I try to bind it up in webbing, but this doesn't seem to be an issue. Plenty of humans have black hair. Welcome. The woman behind the podium announces, her voice startlingly loud. I suppose it has to be to reach everyone in this enormous room, but I've never heard anyone that loud before. How does she do it? Welcome, all of you, to this glorious day of meditation and worship, the woman continues. I know our community is still reeling from the loss of our ruling lord and lady. May they be given their place in the Watcher's embrace. Lord Taftan's skill at managing our bountiful minds will be sorely missed, though in the coming weeks we will have the incredible honor of hosting First Lady Etna and her wife to take up the task. Risen to her station for designing and installing the Lytia Grain Gate, there is little doubt she will be fully capable of supporting our vibrant community. She pauses for a while as murmurs spread through the crowd, voicing everything from excitement to concern to irritation. When the woman starts talking again, however, they all go silent. In far less happy but no less important news, she intones, reports confirm that Lord and Lady Taftan, as well as their brave protectors, were slain by one of the living weapons from Hivarok. The room erupts into murmurs again, this time much louder than before. Hivarok? What's Hivarok? I killed them. Are they saying that's where I'm from? But I'm from the forest. Fear not, Newt Alsey. The woman says, silencing the room again. The king's wrath is mighty and just. Hunters have already been dispatched to protect our lands. Hivarok will not go unpunished for their evil. Not in this life, and not in the next. Shouts of approval echo through the room, the woman behind the podium smiling with approval at the sight of it. Now that I'm thinking about it, she seems dressed quite differently than any other human I've seen. She wears a flowing robe of pure white that tapers into a dancing series of strands around the legs, evocative of the tentacular pillars around the building itself. A simple hat on her head is the only color in her outfit, as it is adorned with a brilliant representation of a human eye. We are battered, we are fearful, and we are stressed. It is times like these, more than any other, when we are tempted to question and rage against our Creator. And so I have chosen my sermon today to discuss the hardship and pain in our world. If the Mistwatcher is good, why does our world, the world he created, have so much evil? The Mist Watcher created the world? I sit forward, attention rapt. Something created the whole world. I never even thought of that before. This world is often dark, the woman says. Our lands are often dangerous. We struggle and we fight, enemies attacking from within and without. Children are torn from their parents, parents separated from their children. Death, no matter how temporary, is a tragedy that pulls us apart. But we must always remember that death is temporary. Our ultimate destination is not here, in this harsh land, but with our Creator. She pauses again, but there are no murmurs in the crowd this time. Goodness is deserved by the good, not the cruel. Yet by what metric do we judge the worth of a person? How do we see who we are, deep in our souls, and know without a doubt the fate we deserve? Her ever-present smile grows wider. It is in times of struggle that our true colors are shown. The truly good do not lend their aid only when they have aid to spare, but in the darkest hours, where they have nothing at all. And though this sounds difficult, impossible even, there is truly no greater way to live. The man who looks out only for himself has only a single man looking out for him, but when we all uplift each other, we have all people looking out for us. And in this, we become unbreakable. This is the virtue of community, and it is the harshness of our world that teaches us the importance of this lesson. We need each other, in times like these more than any other. In the world beyond, we will live in a community far larger than we can imagine, consisting of everyone that has ever lived. There is no place for selfishness in this union, no tolerance for a cruel fool to spoil the harmony. Watcher bless us, dozens of people in the crowd mutter together. Community, the woman repeats, is the first of our great virtues. Wisdom is the next. To act rightly is not something we are born with. We must learn, we must be taught, and we must each personally develop the skill to think and act in accordance with the other virtues. Industriousness, the third virtue, is the keystone on which wisdom and community rest. We must each do our part to develop ourselves and our community into one we can be proud of. The Watcher smiles on the studious, the strong, the creative, the tireless. Our society must advance forward, we must tame these challenges the Watcher has given us, as that is their purpose. Every effort, from the lowliest watcher to the mightiest warrior, is essential to our goal. Work with vigor and pride. She takes a deep breath, eyes scanning over the still silent crowd. I soak in every word, catching them in my memory forever. The fourth is forgiveness. The Watcher judges the damned, but we do not. All people fail, all people stray. Our world would not be a test if we did not first have to learn. Those that falter must be encouraged to try again, to grow beyond their failings and join our glorious community in full. Yet do not confuse forgiveness for apathy. A teacher must often be harsh. A generous person need not be a fool. And thus I remind you all of our fifth and final virtue. She smiles no longer, her face taking on a harsh look as her voice trembles with emotion. Righteous indignation, she intones. A fury we reserve for the truly heinous. This is a dangerous thing to cherish. To give in to anger is too often the path of a fool, and so commonly are people tricked by jealousy, greed, selfishness, and sloth into an unjust rage. Yet when a child lies starving in the streets, when we uncover dark bruises around a woman's neck, when our beloved leaders are stolen from us in the night, their son left an orphan, the feeling that bubbles within us is not sin, but justice. To have the drive and the will to correct what is wrong, that is righteous indignation. Those who fail to stand up to evil are the closest thing to evil itself. I sit stunned as I take it all in. So many of August's words. Did they come from here? I don't have long to think about it, however. After a few more words from the woman, a number of other people walk on stage. And they start singing. It's beautiful. One voice had enraptured me, back what seems like so long ago. A couple dozen voices together make something even more beautiful, even more complex. It is the most wonderful thing I have ever heard. And it is agony. Claretta. Claretta. I grip the top of my head, pressing down on my ears and trying to drown the sound out. No, no, no. My breathing becomes shallow and fast, my eyes squeeze shut. Yet that can't stop me from seeing and hearing the past. The time we spent together returns unbidden, the sound of her song washing over me as I tore the flesh from her limbs. The desperate screams from her lips the many times I nearly killed Fulvia. The way she looked at me, perfect pictures of the expressions haunting my now clear understanding. Why did I come to this stupid town? I hate this. I hate this. Why couldn't I have just stayed in the forest where I was happy? Why couldn't those humans leave me alone? Why, W? Lark. August's voice is barely audible over the music, but instantly I look his way. I'm shaking again, breath moving too fast for me to speak back. Would you like to leave? He asks. I nod rapidly. August whispers a polite apology to those near us, who make room for us to squeeze between the pews and retreat from the church. I sprint away as soon as I'm able, shooting out the back of the church and continuing to flee until I can no longer hear even a hint of the singing. My hearing is very good. By the time I make it, I'm close enough to August's house that I enter without even thinking about it, locking myself in the bathroom and removing my mask. The tears are making it soggy. Lark? Lark, are you in here? August is much slower than I am, and he takes quite some time to catch up with me. I don't want to answer, but my still sobbing body betrays me, gasps for air alerting him to my presence. Lark. Hey, are you alright? Fulvia. Please. You're all I have. I'm fine. I choke. You ate me. I hear him approach the door. This is it, this is where it all ends. He breaks his promise, enters the room, sees me and I hear him sit down carefully on the other side of the wooden door. Just nearby. Saying nothing else, doing nothing else. He hasn't ever wronged me. And she didn't either. You made me choose between torturing my friend and watching her die. I didn't know, I whisper. I hope they bring me your corpse. I didn't know. I shout back. Not that the memory answers. Still, I wail at it, rage and fear and regret pouring out with the tears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No one told me. I remember every bite, every moment of teeth piercing through skin and shattering bone. Blood splatters into my mouth, dribbles down my face, my throat. The screams, the tears, the way she wailed and begged for it all to end. It's such a happy memory. I loved it. Even now, my hunger stirs at the glorious sensations, the unparalleled feeling of a successful hunt. I'm sorry. A long time passes before my eyes dry, leaving me thirsty as well as hungry. I want blood as well as meat. But I'm afraid. I don't want to hunt humans, animals, monsters. I don't want to hunt anything. You can be forgiven, August says quietly. My breath catches in my throat. August has been there the whole time, sitting right on the other side of the door. Of course he has. The thought puts a special sort of warmth in my heart, prodding away just that little bit of pain. I can't be the one to forgive you, of course, August says. To me, Lark, you have done nothing wrong. You are curious, energetic, brash. Just what an old man needs to put a bit more life into his days. In the short time we've been together, I've seen you grow so much. I don't know your past, but I know you're strong. Strong enough to make it here on your own. And I know many young children make grave and terrible mistakes with strength. Sometimes, the Watcher tests us before we're ready. Sometimes, we fail. But you can be forgiven. You have kindness in you, Lark. I'm quiet for a while, slowly getting my mask back on over my face. I stand up, and slowly open the door. August is there, smiling at me. Waiting. He reaches out a hand and I grasp it, helping him to his feet. He's very, very weak for some reason. It's good to help him with things like that. What if I can't? I ask him, croaking out the words. What if I deserve our righteous indignation? Oh, Lark, he answers, looking so horribly sad I thought he might start crying too. You don't. Of course you don't. No matter what, I could never believe it. It's not about what you do. It's about who you are. Who I am. But that's not good. That's worse. I'm Lark. And Lark is a monster. Wahoo! I can't help but whoop out a cheer as I leap up above the branches, power flowing through my body feeling like a warm fire after a rainstorm. A bone-deep chill leaks out of me, replaced more and more by the beautiful strength in my limbs. The core of my soul churns out energy as I fall back to the ground, landing with a thump and a stagger, my startled teammates staring at me with a wide mix of expressions as I fail to stick the landing and fall on my butt, laughing. Vita. Quit messing around. Nora snaps. Sorry. I laugh, completely unrepentant. How high did I just jump? 10 feet? 20? My soul is moving my body. Muscles, flesh. It helps a little on instinct, but I have been unleashed. This feels so much more natural. I must have hit some kind of threshold, because my core just started growing strands into every part of my body, filling me with the power I can move as easily as a tendril. Everywhere below my skin is my domain. I could move my internal organs around if I felt like it, although that seems, stupid, so I'm not going to. To my senses, the inside of my body looks like one of my revenants now. The soul strands that allow my shards to move the bodies of the dead now move me, but not with some minuscule fraction of my soul's power. Oh, no. I get the good stuff. I feel so fucking alive. Vita, stay still, Penelope orders in her I am your healer voice. I stop laughing, stop moving as she rushes over, hitting me with a diagnostic spell. She scowls, glowering at me. Do you feel any pain, anywhere? She asks. I shrug. Not really. A little in my ankle and butt, I guess. Might have landed on it funny. Your tailbone is fractured and you have a torn ligament in your leg, she snaps. I blink in surprise. That sounds bad? I hedge. Of course it's bad, you witless imbecile. She snaps back, starting to heal me. What were you thinking, jumping that high? Of course you'll hurt yourself. You're faster, you're stronger. I can see you are very excited about that, but you aren't any tougher, Vita. If you tried to walk on this leg you'd eventually lose the use of it. I pout, watching her work. Is it really that bad? It barely even hurts. Does it even matter anymore? I ask. Does what matter? Penelope asks idly. Injury. I whisper excitedly, leaning in close to her and ignoring the resulting flash of emotion. I'm like a living revenant now. I can move without using muscle. She glowers at me, blushing slightly but distinctly unimpressed. Of course it matters, you dolt. Are you mad? Don't let power get into your head. You're still a living person. Besides. She jabs me in the forehead with a finger between spell casts. I've been working hard on that body. Don't ruin it. Fine, I relent, rolling my eyes. It's not like I'd been serious. Maybe a bit excited about the idea, but not serious. Revenants are destroyed forever if their bodies are damaged enough. For all I know, I have the same weakness now. I'm disappointed that the increased strength doesn't come with increased durability, though. What's the point in that? There's got to be some way to mitigate the damage I take from hopping around. I probably just need better technique. I sigh, glancing around at everyone else while I wait for Penelope to repair my body. Bentley is awkwardly and nervously carrying around the upper half of Matteo that we managed to salvage. He keeps glancing with worry over at Alan, who's standing next to him, still headless. Alan seems to notice Bentley's discomfort, so he turns his body to face the guy and gives him a thumbs up. For some reason, this doesn't seem to help. My two mute and mutilated male revenants are adapting to undeath pleasantly well, all things considered. I'll have to find a monster we can kill that can approximate human speech, or let them take turns with Netta's body, though. It can't be fun being mute, or immobile like Matteo is. A good queen has to care for her subjects. Speaking of Netta, she seems to be doing all right as well, if a bit unbearably awkward. Orville is awake, and while his expression on seeing Netta's brain leaking out of her skull was absolutely priceless, the tumultuous storm of emotions and conversations that followed are less pleasant. And they don't stop. I just can't believe you're okay with this. Orville grumbles, exasperated. Netta raises an eyebrow. Would you rather I was dead? I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't either, it's just. He glances up at her head, then looks away for what must be the 50th time. You're acting like nothing is wrong, like nothing even happened. It's concerning. A second chance at life after fucking up that bad is more than I thought I deserved, Netta answers. You don't live a good life by scorning fortune. Hug, already. I shout, cupping both hands to my mouth. They both glare at me. You were rather feisty all of a sudden, Penelope comments, her voice sounding annoyed. I know better, of course. She likes it. I grin her way. Of course I am. I insist. I haven't felt this good since I hatched. We're in the forest and I don't feel anything threatening in my range. A bunch of stuff is even running away from us. Hatched? Nora asks incredulously. Yeah, Nora's not happy about all this blasphemy stuff. I haven't told her I got more power by eating a soul yet. I'm probably not going to. But surely it's okay to tell her a bit more about myself? Oh, yeah, so my soul is a little weird. I hedge. I can see and feel souls, you know? That's how my scouting works. Yours is pretty, by the way. It feels like solid water. You mean ice? Penelope asks flatly. No. I protest. No, not ice, just solid water? Like it's unbreakable, yet it flows. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. Souls don't always have a composition that makes sense. But I've always liked it. Nora clearly isn't quite sure how to take that information. Thanks, I think. She ends up going with. But Vita, all this animancy. It's not good. You really shouldn't be relying on it. I raise an eyebrow. It's not like I can turn it off, Nora, I say. I'm not casting a spell to do this, I just see souls. Always. I can't even close my eyes, or cover my ears, or pinch my nose or anything like that to make it stop. Seeing souls is part of my soul. What do you want me to do about it? It's just. That shouldn't be possible, Nora mutters, looking away. I nearly snap at her again, but Penelope speaks first. I suspect that normally it isn't, Nora, Penelope says. Given my position, I would be aware if there were some sort of secret group of natural animancers. There aren't. Yet 1 in 1 I'm sure Orville can confirm that Vita is using her magic as a talent. She doesn't know a single animancy spell. I have a few hypotheses as to why this is, but suffice to say she is not a normal human. You can stand up now, Vita. I do so, stretching and moving my ankle. I guess it was better I learned the dangers of overusing strength before we fight any more monsters, rather than during. What sort of hypotheses, Penny? Nora asks. Don't call me Penny. The most likely is that she's a victim of some other powerful animancer, Penelope answers, shrugging. A human experiment with an artificial talent. Nora's eyes go wide. What? That's. Holy shit, that's horrible. Wait, hold on, I protest. What are you talking about? I feel like I'd remember being a fucking human experiment. For someone other than you, I mean. Penelope gives me a glance, half annoyed and half amused. You think you'd remember being a cognomancer's experiment? One powerful enough to place artificially constructed talents into a soul? I blink. I mutter, stroking my chin thoughtfully with a tendril. Fuck. Anyway, unless you'd like to get another animancer involved to try and quote-unquote fix her, Penelope continues, staring at Nora, I personally think it makes a lot more sense to treat her as a victim, not a criminal. You can call what she is evil, but we both know she has gone out of her way to use her abilities to help the very people that would scorn her. She's not going around mind-controlling people, she's taking something imposed on her by a madman and directing all her efforts to protect the city with it. If you're going to judge her, at least judge her by that. Nora doesn't respond to that, looking away and seeming thoughtful. I open my mouth to ask Penelope about all her other theories about me, but she shoots me a glare and subtly shakes her head. Oh. Is this a scheme? She must be doing something to get Nora off my back, and doesn't want me to ruin it. Well, cool. It's nice to have a friend to do all of the social bullshit for me. How about my soul? Bentley asks out of nowhere. Do you like mine? I grin and nod. Yours is weird. I tell him. It kind of feels like you barely even using it. I think there's something more to your talent. Just a feeling I get. He seems surprised for a moment, then thoughtful. I'm so glad I get to talk about this stuff now. What's Penelope's soul like? Orville asks, he and Netu approaching us as we all prepare to start walking again. Oh, Penelope's is the cutest. I insist. It's all hard and spiky at the top, but the underside is just so soft, bubbly, and fun to play with. Play with? Penelope snaps incredulously. I'll thank you to not play around anything regarding boob. I say, poking her in the bubbles. She yelps and jumps backwards. What was that? Nora demands. What did she do? Calm down, Nora, I say. I didn't do anything. My soul just has these tentacles. And I can touch other souls with them. But it's fine, It's not any more dangerous than poking you in the neck, I guess? Orville clears his throat. Why the neck, specifically? He asks. Well, I mean if I wrapped something around either and squeezed really hard, you'd die, I explain. Silence. And not that I do that. I quickly add. I'm just saying it's a good analogy, because it doesn't hurt anybody to poke them in the neck even though it's generally a super vulnerable part of your flesh. I glance around at my teammates, all of whom are staring at me. I'm getting the impression that I'm not as reassuring as I was trying to be. I hedge. Maybe not that great, no, Nora confirms. I groan. Come on, guys. I complain. The soul stuff is new, okay, fine. But all of you already knew that I could kill you with a thought. Why are you being weird about it now? Penelope pinches the bridge of her nose. Netta laughs. She's an earnest little thing, you've got to give her that. The senior hunter chuckles. Let's just get going, Nora grumbles, looking away. The sooner we get this over with, the sooner we can stop desecrating the dead. And what if I don't want to stop being desecrated? Netta asks. I can't say I love being a zombie, but it's sure better than being dead. Do you want Vita to just unsave my life? Don't I get a say in that? Revenants, I correct again. And my revenants do not hunt and kill the living, unless I ask them to, I guess. Watcher's eyes, Penelope mutters, burying her face in her hands. Vita, shut up. I'm just saying. I protest. It's our job to hunt and kill the living anyway. Vita. Nora starts. Nora. I press, cutting her off. Nora, come on. We're teammates. We eat together, we fight together, we watch each other's backs. I like you a lot, you know? I respect you, and I don't respect a lot of people. Can't you just trust me on all this? I know that the church says I'm a monster. But I'm not stupid, Nora, and I'm not evil. You know that, right? She sighs. Of course I know that, Vita, but this is one of those things you don't get. You know? You're cute as a button and you're amazing at so many things, but you just don't get shit sometimes. This? She gestures at the revenants. This is one of those things. You don't see what makes this wrong, and I know that's not your fault, but Vita, you can't do this. I scowl at her. That hurt a bit. It's true I don't understand a lot of stuff, I say slowly. I know that. But if you see more than I do, it's just because I'm looking at stuff you're not. I don't know what you think you know about souls, or gods, or right and wrong. But Nora, I have looked off the edge and seen the soul of the Mistwatcher. I look up at her, making the conscious effort to look in her eyes, pleading to be understood. Your church is wrong, I tell her. Your God's true nature is a mass of hungry mouths, and the only thing it offers you after death is digestion. I know it. I have seen it. You want an afterlife? I gesture to my revenants, same as she did. This is the only one there is. What you want me to do won't save anyone. It will murder them. Nora sighs. She opens her mouth to speak, but I already feel her response and it infuriates me. I cut her off. Don't pity me. I shout. I'm done with this. I'm not some misguided child spouting fantasies. I'm not one of your fucking dead sisters. The words stab her and she steps back. Vita. I don't. Yes. You do. I correct, jabbing a finger into her breastplate to punctuate every word. I can see your damn soul, Nora. I may not know why people feel the crazy shit they feel, but I sure fucking know how they're feeling. Penelope squirms uncomfortably, but I don't have time for that right now. It all starts pouring out, all of a sudden, the horrifying secrets I've had to keep in fear. Because here is Nora, the one who always had my back, always protected me, treating me like a goddamn crazy person. You see them in me. You always have. But if you joined the hunters because you were looking forward to dying some honorable death and seeing them again in the afterlife, too damn bad. They're gone forever, Nora, reduced to fucking dust and ashes in your so-called God's divine belly. I have seen the Mistwatcher, I have nearly been killed by the Mistwatcher, I have been fucking molested by the Mistwatcher, and yet I can't tell anyone about any of it because your stupid batshit religion will kill me if I do. Don't fucking tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, don't tell me about right and wrong. You don't know anything. I huff furiously, breathing hard by the end of the tirade. I started yelling at some point there, which normally isn't a good idea in the forest, but, well, the creatures that weren't fleeing before are now. Vita, Nora answers quietly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to belittle you. But I think you should maybe talk to a priest. Someone that can explain things better than I can. I know this isn't. She's not listening. Did she not hear the part where her church will literally fucking kill me? No, she just doesn't believe any of it. I can't take this anymore. This is my allotment of social bullshit for the day, filled and exceeded. Enough, I snarl, walking past her. I can't do this anymore. We have a monster to kill. Penelope clears her throat, intending to try and smooth the heavy mood over. Begrudgingly, in fact, since she seemed to really enjoy my rant. At least I can count on her. Approximately where is the closest monster, Scout? She asks. I glance backwards at my team. Right in front of you, I answer. Scary Animancer, remember? So stay behind me, and stay out of my way. I draw my spear and start leading my team directly towards the next closest monster I can sense. It's running, but it will tire before we will. And I need a fucking meal right now. Unlike my body, my soul is never full.